Hey, what's up, guys? This is Baker here. I'm a third year at the BCM, and today we're just going to be asking some seniors from the BCM some questions.
So my name's Irvin, and I'm a fourth year here at Georgia Tech. I'm glad to be graduating, a degree in mechanical engineering, and let's see, I'm from Rome, Georgia, so it's like an hour northwest of here. Pretty nice place to grow up. It's not the city. I don't have to listen to the cars drive by my window when I am in Rome, so love that. Let's see, fun fact about myself. Well, one thing everyone knows, I guess not a fun fact, but I'm half Russian. И поэтому я говорю по-русски очень много. И не все знают, но многие знают об этом, поэтому я говорю. I can solve a Rubik's Cube in like 20 seconds. That's interesting. I have two middle names. One is a name and one is a letter. So my initials are IMOK. Irvin Manasseh O'Kirscher. That's a fun fact.
Yeah, my name is Chase Waddington. I'm a mechanical engineering major. And fun fact is, I guess nothing.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Gaines, but you probably know me as Jonny Gaines. I am a fourth year civil engineering major here at the Georgia Institute of Technology. I will be graduating in approximately 2 weeks. I'm from Covington, Georgia, which is about 45 minutes to the east of Atlanta. I was homeschooled for the entirety of my schooling as a child. I like to play soccer. I like to play guitar. I like to spend time outside, hang out with friends. And a fun fact about me is that I like to drink milk, and I also like to explore storm sewers. And yeah, that's about all there is to know about me.
My name is Elise King. I'm majoring in industrial engineering with a concentration in supply chain. And fun fact, I really love ultimate frisbee.
Hey, I'm Adam Whitney. I'm a fourth year industrial design major. I've got one more year left, so I'll be a fifth year next year. And I'm excited to be talking about the BCM for a little bit.
Hi, my name's Gray Walters, and I'm going to be graduating with an undergraduate degree in architecture. And the food I would bring to a food fight is a pineapple.
What did you enjoy most about the BCM?
Yeah, so the first thing that I think of is the people. Thinking back to freshman year when I was like COVID and everything, and so I was really struggling to find a community. And I walked in the BCM, and they were so welcoming, and I was able to find, a group of people that really were genuine. They cared about me, but more importantly than that, they cared about their relationship with the Lord. And through just discipleship, mentorship, and all of that, the BCM has really grown my love for the Lord, my relationship with Christ, and also my desire to go and obey the Word. And so looking back, now as a fourth year, just being able to pour into all these underclassmen and kind of play that role that I, so enjoyed, and it kept me coming back to the BCM every week. And so that's been a huge blessing and a joy. And now kind of on this side of things, I'm learning so much, and I'm encouraged so much by even just the freshmen this year who have a passion for sharing the gospel. They have a passion for serving. And it's been an amazing experience just to be a part of the BCM, to get to see how God is using it and growing it.
So what I've enjoyed most about the BCM is probably the people I've met there and the friends I've made there. When I first started getting involved second year, just getting to meet the other second year guys at the time, I made the closest friends that I've ever had in my entire life at the BCM, and those relationships have just stayed with me through my college experience and hopefully for the rest of my life. And I've just really been shaped through those relationships from these guys that I met through the BCM. So I just think that the BCM is a great way to bring Christian people together through their college experience, just to meet each other and form these really deep, lasting relationships. And like the Bible says, iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens another. So we have this really awesome opportunity to sharpen each other as we do life together. Just hanging out, having fun, praying together, talking about the Bible, whatever. So I think that's what I've most enjoyed about the BCM, is the people I've met there and the friends I've made there.
I think the greatest strength of the BCM was the community, especially around like freshman year. The BCM did a really good job of putting like-minded people together. Obviously, I lived with BCM roommates for basically 3 years, and that was a huge blessing. So I think freshman year was great. Getting plugged in, plenty of people who knew the word a lot better, and they were willing to teach me and spend time with me. So yeah, I think the BCM did a really good job of incorporating freshmen.
I really like the people. Honestly, every year is great. The new freshmen, all the years that I've graduated since I've been here, miss them all so much, but all the people are so great. And they're really encouraging in your walk with Christ. When I first got here, all the older BCMers would always be like, "Hey, Elise, how's it going? What are you reading in Scripture?" And that was always super encouraging.
It's kind of a generic answer, but I think definitely just the people that I've met through the BCM, largely because all of my close friends I met at the BCM. So basically you, Jonathan, and a bunch of other people. And it's just really cool seeing the community. And, when I came here, I was a second year, so I didn't know anybody at all. And usually people meet all their friends first year, and first year is this fun time where everyone is you can just meet people on the street or in the dining hall, except my first year was COVID, so I just sat in a room by myself at home. So it was nice to come to the BCM and have people that actually would show interest in me and want to be my friend. Adam invited me over to his apartment pretty early on when I showed up. So I went from being a stranger with no friends to someone with a pretty good community and people that invited me to their church and just helped disciple me. So it was cool having older classmen as well as a younger guy to pour into me. So good role models. So I enjoyed that.
What I enjoyed most about the BCM was being a small group leader. Probably one of the most fun things I've done at Georgia Tech in general, just as a whole. Small group leader was amazing.
If you had the power to, what's one thing you would change about the BCM?
I can't. Nothing really comes to mind. Maybe the only thing I guess is more cross years hanging out, maybe. But there's a lot of that as is, so it's pretty great as is.
I love the BCM for a lot of things. Like I said before, I think one of the things that would be really great is to have more events that invite people in. So at Georgia Tech, we'll have this week of welcome kind of thing, which is the first week right before classes start. And so the BCM does all kinds of really fun events. We'll do deep fried ping pong, which is fried chicken and a ping pong tournament. And we'll do worship night outside. And we'll do a bunch of kind of bigger, kind of seeker focused outreach events. And that's about the major time that we'll do that. Of course, we'll do pancake nights once a month, things like this. But I think it'd be awesome to take some of those major events that involve free food or some kind of a tournament or a game where we can, invite people in that might not be Christians, that might not know the gospel, but we're able to use the facilities that we have to kind of reach out to them. I'd love to do that more just during the semester because I think we would be able to reach a lot more people. So that's one thing I would probably change or add.
I think that what we could really improve is just being unified across the boundaries of gender and graduating class, specifically in regards to doing stuff outside of the BCM, outside of small groups and velocity. I think that we could really stand to be more unified in that regard.
Yeah, and this is tough because I don't know how much of this is actually possible, but I wish that the BCM would be able to either become a partner with a local church, or B, which I think is more feasible, would be to do more things involved with local churches. Obviously, they're overseen by Georgia Baptist Convention, so that's going to put some limitations on things. But I think it would be great if more of the local churches that students at the BCM attended would be able to come and maybe familiarize themselves with Eric and people at the BCM. Maybe they would do specific events and things like that, because I think that's not only helpful for the church to get to know their college students better, but I think it's just great to have churches involved on campus, as the BCM is, very involved too.
Don't bring the drums out. Hot take, but the cajon is significantly better than the drums. Don't even think about it, honestly.
If you were able to redo a semester or year from your college experience, what would you do differently, or what's something you would have done/tried that you didn't do?
I guess a couple things that I wish I had done differently when I was first coming into tech. One is I wish I was a little more disciplined, not only with like having regular habits of doing things like exercising and reading the word, like a specific time of day, and praying a specific time of day, and just in general, just like being more disciplined with staying healthy and sleep and that sort of thing. And also, I wish that I had not stressed out about school as much as I did. I think I really wanted to have like a good academic performance, and sometimes my spiritual walk suffered, especially prayer life, which was not good. And I wish that I had seen that and understood, college is great, and it's a season where a lot of people are more busy than they are the rest of their lives. But I wish I had realized how important my prayer life and my walk is, and that, even if just like staying up a little bit later, like a certain day where I hadn't been in the Word, a lot of times I think like, oh, I'm just going to go to bed, and sleep in. I wish I had just stayed up, like a few more minutes and just prayed like a brief prayer or read just a little bit. I think that would have been helpful.
So I'll talk about 2 different semesters. So spring semester of freshman year, school got really, really hard, and I was also at home. So I got really depressed. Like, it's probably the only time, like, people always joke about being depressed at Georgia Tech, but I was like actually depressed. Like, I would wake up. I used to talk about this a lot because it was a formative time in my life, unfortunately. But I would wake up, go and sit at my desk, which is like 5 feet away from my bed, and do school all day. Never go downstairs, never walk out of my room, just do homework. And then at like 10 p.m., I'd go down and drink a Coca-Cola by myself and warm up cold dinner. I'd have cold lunch by myself as well, cold dinner by myself, because so I just kind of like didn't hang out with my family, didn't hang out with friends. Everyone was busy, and I got really, really sad. Looking back, also one of my like closest friends got a girlfriend, so he was really busy as well, and we like never saw each other, and I thought he'd replace me. Looking back, he was just really busy, and he wasn't trying to. It just kind of, the circumstances kind of piled upon each other. So looking back, what I learned from that semester is that I was finding my joy and my purpose in life in like the fun things I did, specifically with my friends. So the reason that I felt like my life mattered, or my life was interesting, or my life was purposeful, is because I could do cool stuff on the weekends, and I had like a bunch of friends, and I was like not quite the top dog, but I was like one of the really respected people in the friend group. And all of a sudden the friend group kind of fell apart. My best friend kind of wasn't hanging out with me, and I was just alone doing school by myself. So all the things that I thought were what was my purpose or what brought me joy, like obviously I knew that God was the real purpose, but I was living realistically I was living for these other things. I was living for my friends. I was living for the fun times. And because of that, once they were gone, I was just left with sad. And even though I didn't quite learn the lesson at that time, the lesson that I should have learned and have learned since then is that the real joy should be in God and in who He is and what He's done for us. And even if I lose certain things in my life that are fun or enjoyable or friends or whatever, that's really not what life is about. And I should find my hope in Christ.
Yeah, so one of the earlier semesters, my time at Tech here, I think I focused a little bit too much on school. It's not that important, so I'd probably if I could go back and spend some of those times that I should not have necessarily been studying on hanging out with friends and doing stuff like that around campus.
Probably my third and fourth years, I wish I would have maybe not cared as much about school. Obviously school is important and getting good grades, but it's only important up to a certain point. And I think I wish I would have kind of shifted my perspective on that and realized the value of spending time with people, relationships, getting discipled and being discipled, rather than just getting so stressed about school. I think it's super easy at Georgia Tech just to have school consume us, and that that's all we think about, all we worry about is school. But there's really so much more to life than getting stressed about school. So obviously, I'm glad I tried hard and put effort in, but I wish I would have maybe not put so much value and emphasis on school and getting good grades. And then I think also for my last year, my senior year, I wish I would have been a CG leader. I really enjoyed that opportunity my third year to get to be the freshman CG leader. And I think I wish I could have had that opportunity again, leading a CG, because that was very impactful for me in my growth as a believer and maturity. So, yeah.
So if I were to do something differently, I really think that as a BCM, we could do better about conducting some of the things we do, specifically the Bible study in a more public atmosphere, less within the confines of the BCM and getting out more. I would have really liked to do more of our Bible studies in Piedmont Park and Jenny's, in the Student Center, things like that.
Man, so thinking about it, each semester and year is pretty unique from one another. I would say the hardest semester that I had was probably my second year, first semester, because that's when I switched majors, and so I was doing intro level industrial design classes, so a lot of sketching and modeling and staying up super late at the studio. But then I was also taking linear algebra, a bunch of kind of tough math classes and all of that. And the main thing that came with all of that was I was constantly stressed out, and I would stay up super late and stuff like that. And so I think that if I could do it over again, I would probably try to get a better sleep schedule, and maybe put off some of those hard classes, taking them all at once. But I also am glad that I had that semester, because I learned a ton about kind of how to work hard, and it was still really fun. I was able to hang out with all my roommates and stuff, and we'd stay up super late playing video games and all of that. So there's a lot of great memories that come with it. I just was super stressed out. And I think as well, my personal relationship with the Lord suffered because I was super busy, and I just didn't have a ton of time to spend with the Lord quietly by myself. And so, taking that into account too, I would try to make some more time for that, and less time cutting up with the boys. So,
can you send a message to the younger BCM students?
Get involved in a local church. Get involved early and really form a community. Just really don't be afraid to just make deep relationships. And the local church will be able to support you after your time in college, after the BCM is not there for you anymore. So get involved in a local church now.
Okay, well, the stereotypical ones are all true, but they definitely should be worth said. Probably everyone else has already said them. Read your Bible, go to church. Do not forsake the assembly. Here's one that maybe not someone else has said. Don't just ask advice from your friends. Friends are great, and I always I enjoy talking with my friends about important things and getting advice from them. But at the end of the day, your friends have only lived about as long as you have, so they don't really know anything, and neither do you. So, speaking as someone who also doesn't know anything, getting advice from someone older, specifically like someone from the church, I think is really wise, especially in terms of like spiritual things or big life decisions. But honestly, just in general, like hanging out and talking to older people in your church is super useful. And if you want to actually have good godly counsel, you need to go seek it out. It won't just necessarily fall in your lap. So don't just trust what your friends say, because they might just be as stupid as you. Find a trusted man in your church that you can ask good advice from, but also be warned that not every old man in church is necessarily wise. But an elder is always a good shot, in general. But don't go through life alone. The church was made for us to be part of a community and to have a good combination of younger people and older people, which really helps when it comes to seeking God's will and finding guidance in life.
I would just say, honestly, like, school's not that important. Like, you're here at Georgia Tech, you made it, congrats. But, enjoy the people while you're here. Enjoy being in college, growing in your faith, sharing Christ with those on campus. But school, in the end, your GPA is not that important.
Couple things. One is, I'm thankful for you. You guys encourage me and you challenge me in so many ways. The way that you guys serve, the way that you guys pour into the BCM, and y'all are leaders, really, without probably knowing it. I was thinking back to where I was, in your shoes a couple years ago. You guys are really pursuing what God is calling you to do. So keep doing that. Advice would be seek discipleship. So discipleship is kind of like a 3-tiered system. I kind of see it as biblically as well, where there's someone that's older than you that's pouring into you, and then there's people, your peers, that are alongside you, iron sharpening iron. That's the second tier. And then the third tier is you pouring into somebody else. And so I encourage every single freshman and sophomore, try to have all three. Try to have somebody in your life, in your circle, that's pouring into you, a more mature believer. Maybe somebody from your church. Get involved in your church. Then also make time, spend time with your peers, and just enjoy college, and lift one another up in the Lord, pray with one another, all of those things. And then also I encourage you, as you grow, find people who might be younger than you, less age-wise and more spiritually wise, that you can pour into. And when you have kind of that 3-tiered system of discipleship, that's been one of the most encouraging things that I've had in college. And so that's what I encourage you guys to do.
Yeah, so I think the message I would send to younger students at the BCM is just to be very intentional with your time when you're at college. Time is one of the most valuable resources or things we have while we're in college. And I would just say to think about how you use your time. There are a lot of important things in college, and I think it's very important that we prioritize where we want our time to be spent. And I think also just being intentional with relationships and spending time with people. It can be very easy to spend a lot of time with people and waste that time not being intentional with conversations, but just hanging out and joking around and talking about whatever. But really taking time to ask people how they're doing with their walk in the Lord, to have those conversations that are really building one another up and just mutually encouraging one another, and just helping to just sanctify each other through our relationships. So yeah, just intentionality, which obviously is thrown around a lot, but it is super important.
One thing that I tell people, and this is something that I learned the hard way, I'll read just a little bit of Psalm chapter 1. So it says, "How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He will be like a tree firmly planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither, and whatever he does, he prospers." And so specifically, I think what really was important for me to realize is like meditating on God's law day and night. I think my school and my ambition and all my good desires that I had for becoming an engineer and all these things, it definitely stifled and kind of choked out a lot of my like spiritual discipline. Like I also wanted to read the word, and I definitely, wanted to be more involved in church and all these things. But I think my ambition kind of overtook that at some points in my life. And I think a big part of my lack of like spiritual discipline was probably just overcommitting to things. And I think that a lot of freshmen and sophomores have felt like this. It's so easy. You take classes and you want to commit to doing something on top of it. You do clubs, you do research, you do all this stuff, and everything is kind of competing for your attention. And it's telling you, oh, you need to do this and this. If you don't do all these, 16 steps, you're not going to be a successful engineer or a businessman or whatever the case it is. But what I had to realize is that, meditating on God's law is more important. Like, yes, we have to provide, and that's what we are here for, is to get a degree and to, Lord willing, get a job and move on from this place. But not only is that important, but even more so is our walk with God. And so I think that's my message to younger people, is to put that first. That's your first priority, is to know God and to walk with him. And, what the Bible says is the one who meditates on God's law day and night will prosper. And so we have to trust in that, even if we don't have the resources or the time to do as much engineering as our classmates or whatever. We have to realize that we are to be committed to that first.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
I think off the top of my head, I would have to say chocolate chip cookie dough, but there are a lot of good flavors out there, and I think I would really have to sit down and take some time to really come up with a better answer, but I'll go with chocolate chip cookie dough for now.
My favorite ice cream flavor is cotton candy.
I'd have to go with coffee. The lavender at Jenny's ice cream is also pretty fire.
My favorite ice cream flavor is vanilla, but with the vanilla bean included.
This is the hardest question because I also don't eat ice cream anymore. I think the last time I've had one ice cream, I think, in the last 2 years, and afterwards I felt sick, so I didn't do it. I haven't eaten it since. But back when I did eat ice cream, I think my favorite was chocolate Moose Tracks, because I used to love the combo of the little peanut butter cups is pretty good.
My favorite ice cream flavor is never just one flavor. It's 3 contrasting flavors: butter pecan, toffee, and caramel, something like that. It just has to be 3 really nicely contrasting flavors, preferably towards the chocolate end. I did work at an ice cream shop.
What's one word you would use to describe the current seniors at the BCM?
Passionate.
Leadership.
Intentional.
Chill. Steadfast.
Inspirational.
Kerfuffled.
Ungovernable.
Bunch of dorks.